US President Joe Biden pledged to stand up to anti-Semitism and made a promise of never again while remembering all the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust experienced. The US President released a statement commemorating the International Holocaust Remembrance Day as the war between Israel and Hamas wages on. Biden said that there has been an alarming rise of despicable anti-Semitism both in the United States and around the world that has surfaced painful scars of Jewish people. Biden further assured that the US will join nations around the world to pause and mourn, grieve the lives taken by Nazis and honor the survivors of those who risked their lives for the innocent. Of course, latest developments coming in at this point of time. My colleague Brian Thomas joins us on the broadcast to give us more details on this. Brian, over to you.
Well, Asami, U.S. President Joe Biden has, pledged to stand up to anti-Semitism and even made a promise of never again while remembering all the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust, experience. And the U.S. President also released a statement commemorating the International Holocaust Remembrance Day also, which is set to be January 27th, as the war between Israel and Hamas still wages on. And even Biden said that the U.S. joins nations around the world to pause and mourn one of the darkest chapters in human history, that grieve the lives taken by Nazi and honor the survivors and those who risked their lives for the innocent. And he also says that this year, the charge to remember the Holocaust, the evil of the Nazis and the scourge of the anti-Semitism is more pressing than ever, as said by Biden, denouncing the poor, unadulterated evil also that Hamas unleashed on Israel in its October 7th attack that killed 1,200. And he also said that it was the worst atrocity committed against the Jewish people in a single day since the Holocaust. And Biden further also said that since the Hamas attack on Israel, there has been an alarming rise of despicable anti-Semitism both in the US and around the world also, that has surfaced painful scars of Jewish people. And he says that they cannot remember all the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust experience, and then says that they stand silently by when Jews are attacked and targeted again when it happened, as said by Biden in his statement. And he also says that without equivocation or exception, they must forcefully push back against the attempts to ignore, deny, distort, and even revise the history, and which includes the Holocaust denialism and effort to minimize the horrors that Hamas perpetrated on October 7th. Yes, Asavi.
Right, absolutely, Brian. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast and sharing all those details with our viewers. Meanwhile, still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav. So what do you make of this pledge that's been taken by US President Joe Biden to stand up to anti-Semitism?
Yes, I think anti-Semitism is not acceptable, and it must never occur again. And when President Biden was speaking about it, he used the term never again. And obviously, anti-Semitism and the history of Holocaust is a scar on human history, and that must never ever be repeated. That is the place which US President Joe Biden has taken. And every responsible citizen of the world, every responsible nation of the international community must take that place, that anti-Semitism never occurs again. But one thing is quite certain, and the fact on the ground is that when Israel came under attack on October 7th by terrorist organization Hamas, there are certain countries, groups and individuals, they have attempted to picturize this entire, Israel's war against Hamas as it is being fought between Israel and Palestine, Jews and Muslims, and as if it is a war which is going on between the two, civilizations, etc., etc. Such kind of a distorted, fake narrative is being, propagated and built by certain, as I said, countries, groups, and individuals. That must be rejected. And there has to be a clear, understanding about this war. which Israel has waged against Hamas, which is a war against terrorism. This war is not against the people of Palestine. This war is not against Muslims. This is not war against Jews and Muslims. This is not the clash of civilizations. Rather, this kind of attack which the Hamas carried out on Israel was a conspiracy to hatch and a conspiracy to start a war between two civilizations, Jews and Muslims, and this kind and the kind of a normalization process which Israel was having with the Arab world, that to disrupt that process, Hamas carried out this attack, and in that attack, obviously certain state and non-state actors have been involved. But after this attack, the kind of a narrative which is being put in the international community, that is also giving rise to this various tendencies of anti-Semitism. And there are certain group in the name of liberalism, etc., they carry out this kind of a fake propaganda to picturize this entire war as it is being fought between two civilizations. That must be rejected. And whether it is Islamophobia or Hinduphobia or anti-Semitism, such kind of dark and negative views and tendencies must be rejected, and that's what is the responsibility of every responsible nation, every responsible groups and individuals that they must come out with, and those who are attempting to propagate such false narratives must be given a clear rejection, and that is what is the need of the hour, and that is what the pledge the United States of American President Joe Biden has taken, that this kind of a false narrative will not be acceptable. Rising tendencies of the anti-Semitism will not be acceptable. It will not be allowed to revive again. Those who are trying to distort the history, those who are trying to revise such kind of a tendency, and those who are attempting to ignore the history of Holocaust will not be acceptable at all, and they must be rejected. That's what the message has been given by US President Joe Biden, and this message must go across to all those who are trying to promote such a false narrative in a very loud and clear manner.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.